We agreed that it is right to move towards the diplomatic track. I fully supported this particular approach that was proposed by President Donald Trump. We talked about a trilateral meeting that was needed. Then he had contact with the Russian side and he said, let's first do a bilateral track. And this was the Russians' proposal. He said a bilateral track first and then a trilateral one. Ideally, it would be a trilateral format right away. But if President Trump says that we can continue the conversation in this format, we are ready to support a bilateral track and then a trilateral track. Let's talk about the specific date and then discuss the exact location. That's all. That's absolutely everything for the moment.
Thank you for this opportunity. Halina Stapova from Novini Live. My first question is for President Zelensky. Are there any details on how preparations are progressing for your bilateral meeting with Putin, especially considering the recent statements by Lavrov, who, after the summit in Alaska and the negotiations in Washington, said that supposedly a new negotiation level for some group needs to be established, with the basis being the 22 and with intensified airstrikes on Ukraine?
There is a general and widespread understanding of precisely how the diplomatic track might proceed. We currently have no formal agreements with Russia. And we agreed that it is right to move towards the diplomatic track. I fully supported this particular approach that was proposed by President Donald Trump. We talked about a trilateral meeting that was needed. Then he had contact with the Russian side and he said, let's first do a bilateral track. And this was the Russians' proposal. He said a bilateral track first and then a trilateral one. I don't want us to set any conditions that someone could later use as obstacles to ending the war. That's why I said we are ready. Ideally, it would be a trilateral format right away. But if President Trump says that we can continue the conversation in this format, we are ready to support a bilateral track and then a trilateral track. Let's talk about the specific date and then discuss the exact location. That's all. That's absolutely everything for the moment. I believe that whether it was a week ago or even 2 weeks ago, it truly does not matter where Russia was or is or where it was located. It doesn't want to, didn't want to, and still doesn't want to now. It wants to issue ultimatums, and by means of these ultimatums, postpone the possibility of ending this war. They are doing everything so that President Trump does not impose sanctions on them and doing everything so that the US does not exert the kind of pressure that the US is capable of. That's what Russia is doing. And their intentions definitely haven't changed. Their intentions. The arrival of your delegations demonstrated the unity of Europe. In just one day, the largest or one of the largest groups of countries that support us, countries of Europe that surround Ukraine, gathered together. In just one day, the leaders gathered and arrived. This is a great success for Ukraine. And this is a strong signal to the United States of America that this is how the countries of the world unite very quickly, because they are completely on Ukraine's side where there is justice. Absolutely. The undeniable fact that America, at this very moment, President Trump explicitly said, okay, we are indeed joining these crucial security guarantees. I personally consider this a truly significant success for Europe. We still truly don't know. Sorry, perhaps it's too strong of a word, I say success, but today it really truly sounded like a resounding success. Why? Because security guarantees, yes, the country needs them. But without America, Europe won't give us all the opportunities it is capable of providing. And it's clear why, for various reasons. The profound unity of America and Europe is indeed very important, and I truly emphasize that point. And this is an especially important signal that was clearly present during all of our recent meetings. Once again, I truly want to emphasize that this event has indeed happened. I honestly do not know how it will ultimately end as of today, but it is certainly much better than it was just a week or two ago. Such a unification took place in Washington. Yes, a unification, for now only political. Yes, it's only the first step that our teams are working on security guarantees. But it was an important signal from America, from the president. The Russians are currently trying to do something else to avoid a potential meeting. The issue is not solely about the meeting. The issue is that they don't want to end the war. A meeting is one of the components of how to end the war. It's not everything, it's just one of the components. And since they don't want to end it, they will look for space for this. And it's necessary for this space to shrink. The strong unity of America and Europe significantly reduces this very space. This space is for war. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today, we extensively discussed, above all, what our crucial next joint steps could be to effectively give Ukraine and all of Europe more comprehensive security and to bring the real and lasting end of the war significantly closer. The very first and most important step is security guarantees. Together with all our partners, we have reached an important mutual understanding with the United States. The United States is ready to be part of the security guarantees for Ukraine, and this is the first time we have achieved such a level of readiness. Right now, negotiations are ongoing practically every day regarding the specific content of the security guarantees for Ukraine. At the level of security advisors, at the level of our military, and at the level of diplomats from all teams. Yesterday, there was a call between Ukraine, all of Europe, and the United States of America. Today, this work will continue, and I am grateful to everyone who is involved. Our overall goal is exactly as it is being formulated, and this is in ongoing dialogue, and this is with all of our valued partners, and these must be Article 5-like guarantees, meaning like Article 5 of the NATO treaty, and these are truly effective and robust security guarantees, providing a strong and reliable framework. This is exactly the result we need to achieve. So that there is an absolutely clear architecture. Which countries are helping us on the ground, which are working to secure our skies, which guarantee security at sea, and are assisting Ukraine. This also concerns the funding of our army, specifically the size and quality of the Ukrainian army that will serve as protection for Ukraine. Much of this is based on our cooperation with partners, on our cooperation with NATO, which has already been achieved. The Ukrainian army as a whole, as well as our defense and security infrastructure, are very seriously integrated into the alliance's system. There is a lot of bilateral cooperation with alliance members, and we will definitely continue all the practical levels of our cooperation with NATO. The second point is weapons for Ukraine's soldiers. The Pearl program is already up and running. Thank you very much, Mark, for this initiative. It is a very strong program that allows the purchase of American weapons with funds from our partners. There is already $1.5 billion from our European partners in this program, and new participants will be joining soon. We thank each and every one of you. This allows Ukraine to purchase in America such absolutely essential things as air defense, and above all, Patriots, missiles, HIMARS, and other weapons. I want to thank you once again, Mark, for diligently organizing and effectively coordinating this entire program. The importance of adding both funding and effectiveness to the program every month cannot be overstated. On average, it's $1 billion per month. Mark and I discussed it. It could be $1 billion in some months, or sometimes even $1.5 billion. This is something we need to keep working on. We also discussed how to involve more countries in the Pearl program. It's also critically important to ensure there is sufficient and adequate funding for our domestic Ukrainian drone production programs. The second significant part of our extensive conversation with our dedicated teams focused exclusively on the vital aspect of domestic production. Ukraine's production potential is much greater than our current financial capabilities and available resources. We are working to close this gap. Today, Mark has already seen our drones, several different types and models, and they are proving to be very effective. For me, this is truly weapon number one. It effectively holds back the enemy, helps to maintain the front lines, and significantly reduces Ukrainian casualties. This is undoubtedly the most important factor, and it's thanks to the drones. The Russians are increasing their use of drones. We can see this. We have everything we need to counter this, and crucially, we have the necessary funding. In the near future, we need to cover the deficit. We've already talked about this, it's no secret. It's 6 billion, a little more than 6 billion. But we are really counting on this support from our partners. The next point is diplomacy. We discussed the key details of our joint work for meaningful negotiations to end the war. We often consult with Mark and are constantly in touch about how we should act most effectively, especially in the context of partnership, overall partnership and joint partnership with the United States. With President Trump, we had, I believe, a historically significant visit to Washington, to the nation's capital. We agreed on security guarantees, which I have already mentioned. And we also discussed the formats for a meeting with the Russian leader, bilateral formats, trilateral ones. You have also heard about all of this. It is precisely at the level of leaders that the issues must be resolved in order to end the war. But now we clearly see that the Russians are doing everything possible to prevent this meeting from actually happening. Ukraine, unlike Russia, is certainly not afraid of any meetings with leaders. We are ready to work productively to the fullest extent. We sincerely hope that our international partners will actively help to ensure at least a minimally productive and constructive position from the Russian side. They absolutely must be compelled into meaningful diplomacy. Truly strong and impactful sanctions are urgently needed if they do not agree to a peaceful diplomatic resolution of this ongoing war. If they do not want to end the war, we are counting heavily on powerful packages from our partners. We firmly believe that every effort must be made to prevent Russia from continuing to avoid essential meetings. We clearly see a strong signal from the United States indicating that they are indeed ready to move forward. Europe and other countries within the coalition want and are ready to help her. We are grateful for this. A serious coalition platform has been established. It includes more than 30 countries, among them Japan, Canada, and others. This is about the Ukrainian coalition, and it is quite large. It is important to implement all of this, and it is very difficult but important. We work at night. Glory to Ukraine.